Are you struggling to play bar chords? Do you get frustrated every time you play them because you sound like this? Does your left hand get tired from playing bar chords? Well, in this video, we're going to solve those problems by giving you 5 effective strategies to conquer bar chords. And by the end of this video, you're going to have the confidence to embrace them and play them with more ease and finesse. The first thing you need to realize is that playing bar chords are the most physically stressful things we can play on guitar. So don't be too hard on yourself if you don't get it right away. It does take time and practice to develop. The first rule is to use gravity. If you're not using gravity, you are working against it, my friend. So the first thing I want you to try is to hang your hand on the neck of the guitar and then just let go like this, okay? Let your arm relax and just feel the weight of it and feel how heavy your arm actually weighs, okay? Then I want you to take that weight and use that weight of gravity to help you push the strings down, okay? So, now if I play B minor chord, for example, I get a nice clear weight, and I'm barely pressing with my fingers. I am just letting my entire elbow and arm and gravity do all the work for me, okay? Think less about squeezing and more about using the weight, and let gravity do the work for you. Tip number 2 is push, don't squeeze. I have a lot of students whose hands get really tired because they're squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and then they get super fatigued, and just from playing bar chords a couple minutes, they're like, whew, okay, I gotta stand up and take a break now, right? So instead of squeezing, what I want you to try is push from this large knuckle joint here, okay? You have a lot of power that comes from here, and by pushing from here rather than squeezing, you're gonna be able to play for much longer without getting tired. Let's take an A major chord, for example. If I push from that large knuckle joint, I don't even need my thumb to play a bar chord, and I can still get it to sound good. How cool is that? If you find any of these tips helpful, like the video and please consider subscribing. Tip number 3 is to only apply pressure where it's needed. So if we take a G major bar chord, for example, like this, I have 3 fingers that are down, right? So my bar does not need to put pressure on the strings that these fingers are on, right? Because these fingers are in front of the bar. So my bar chord, in reality, only needs to play the 6th string, and it needs to play the top 2 strings, okay? So if I focus a bunch of pressure in the middle of my finger, that is just wasted energy. That does nothing for me. So I could actually even play this G chord with like a curved finger by only applying pressure here and here, like this. Okay? I'm not saying you should do that, but that just helps you realize that you only need to apply pressure where it's actually needed, okay? So really think about where you're focusing the pressure when you play a bar chord, and you will save tons of energy. Tip number 4 is to play on the side of your finger. Now you might notice that when you look at your finger, it has these joints, right? And if a string happens to land in one of those kind of indents, it doesn't matter how hard you press the string down, the note is not going to sound, okay? For me in particular, it's this top one. When a string lands right here, I know that it's not going to sound good. So you need to be aware and make sure that the string is either on this side or this side of one of those little indents. And one way that you can avoid that happening is by playing on the side of your finger. So we have our finger here. The front part is a little bit more meaty, a little bit more fleshy, but if you tilt it onto the side here, that's going to help you play more clearly because it doesn't have quite as many indents on it. So if I take my bar chord here, and let's say, I don't know, maybe I have a buzz like that, but I tilt it a little bit on the side, now I get it nice and clearly. Tip number 5 is to use leverage. Now you might be a little bit surprised by this one, but what you can do is you can take your right arm and you can use it to push the neck of the guitar into your left hand. Now what this does is it creates an opposite force that pushes the strings into the fingers, which makes it even easier. This one is especially useful if your left hand does start to get really tired and fatigued. What I like to do is just add a little bit of weight. You know, I'm not going to move my guitar crazy like that, but I'm just going to add a little bit of weight to my right arm, and that is going to help me relieve some of that fatigue when I'm playing bar chords. Now when you combine all these 5 tips together, it makes you a smarter and much more efficient player. So make sure to practice. It does take time to develop these techniques, but practice and you will get there, my friends. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.